Hi everyone, welcome to Leisrealtalk. Sorry for the late start. Before I begin, I want to ask you, can you guys hear me all right? Or do I sound okay? Because my normal microphone does not work. I'm using the webcam microphone. So please leave me notes and tell me if you could hear me all right. Oh, I'm not seeing any notes. It's, all right, okay, let's get started. Well, first of all, happy Father's Day. So, to all the fathers, grandfathers out there, happy Father's Day. Okay, audio sounds a bit low. Okay, all right, I'll try to speak up. Lots of echo. Oh, okay. All right, okay. Um, but a little low in the voice. I have no idea why my microphone does not work. Um, let's see. Is this better? Sorry, is this better? I tried a different microphone. Um, this may be even worse. Hold on. I'm terribly sorry. I have no idea why my microphone does not work. Um, default. I think this is probably better. I think this is better. Okay. All right. We'll just have to. Sorry. I apologize for the audio quality. I should look into this. Yeah, I thought it's the weekend. Let's talk about something a little bit fun, but it's still related to geopolitics. So, we know that June 15th was Xi Jinping's 70th birthday, right? And he broke from a CCP tradition and had a celebration, a birthday bash for himself. And there were two world famous men who went to China, and one is the Argentinian superstar. I try to pronounce his first name right. It's not Lionel, it's Lionel. Am I saying it right? Messi. And also him and the Argentinian World Soccer Champion team had a football match in Beijing on his birthday. And then billionaire Bill Gates also went to China just in time, maybe for the birthday party, but right before U.S. Secretary of State Tony Blinken's visit. So, what's the scoop behind their visits? And so, we'll talk about how Xi Jinping broke the CCP tradition in his birthday celebration. And then we'll talk about the football match in Beijing. I think you'll find that fascinating. And then I'll play you the video where Xi Jinping met with Bill Gates, their body language, their speeches. And then, last but not least, we'll just quickly give you kind of a wrap up on how the Chinese, quote unquote, celebrated Xi Jinping's birthday. All right, so the first things first, let's talk about how Xi Jinping broke the tradition in birthday celebration. I want to share with you this image that I found. It's actually 6 rules set by Mao Zedong back in March 1949, 6 months before the CCP overthrew the nationalist government and established the PRC. Mao was concerned that the party members would become complacent and lacking discipline after after the regime seizing power or the party seizing power. So he set a rule at the seventh CCP Party Congress. So the 6 rules are: the first one is no birthday celebrations, no gift giving. And then 3 is minimize toasting. 4 is minimize hand clappings. Number 5 is do not name streets or cities with leaders' names. And the 6th is kind of it says do not put Chinese leaders on an equal footing with the communist leaders from Germany and Russia, like Karl Marx, Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin and people like that. So CCP leaders before Xi Jinping all followed this rule pretty well. So that's why we never quite saw any official birthday celebrations in China. I mean, obviously there were private celebrations, but we don't see any official events for their birthdays. However, Xi Jinping seemed to be breaking this rule. To be fair, we probably can't say he broke the rule. We should say people under him wanted to please him, wanted to please him so much that they dared to break the rule, but he allowed it. So, how did he celebrate his birthday? Well, from what I can gather, people working for him organized several events. First is the Beijing Museum of Art holds an exhibit called the Auspicious Birthday Celebration. It's a special exhibit on the culture of birthday celebrations. And now you should know that the location of the Beijing Museum of Art was formerly the place that emperors celebrated their birthdays during the Ming and Qing dynasties. I have a picture of that. Here we go. And it's called the Wanshou Temple. And in Chinese, it means longevity. So it's the Temple of Longevity. So it's now the Beijing Museum of Art. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is China's central bank dropped the interest rate. And so the stock market could have a rally on his birthday. You might ask, how are the two related? Why is the stock market performance related to Xi's birthday? Well, creating a prosperous outlook for the country to celebrate the leader's birthday is a concept that we've heard before. In 2015, the public anticipation of a stock rally in mid-June to celebrate Xi Jinping's birthday was part of the scheme planted before the stock market crashed on June 12, 2015. So it's a concept that has, frequently returned. So I want to show you the stock performance for the past month for both the Shenzhen stock index and then the Shanghai. The one on the left is Shanghai, the one on the right is Shenzhen. And it's by date. So you can see how when it gets close to his birthday, you see the uptick, right? You see the uptick. So this is not unusual in a communist state when people want to, please the dictator by showing a stock market rally. And then the third thing is the Longevity Temple, the one that I show you, home of the Beijing Museum of Art, is closed for 2 days on June 14th and the 15th. The museum's website said that it had an important activity, so it must close the place. So I wonder what important activity that required the Imperial Longevity Temple to be closed on Xi Jinping's birthday and the day before. I think you guys can figure it out. Well, they needed the venue for 2 days, right? The 14th was a setup day, and the 15th is the day of the event. Of course, that's a speculation, but I'm not the only one who's speculating. There are a lot of people who are saying that the museum was closed to celebrate Xi Jinping's birthday, or a private event was held at the museum, at the Longevity Temple, where emperors from the Ming and Qing dynasties typically celebrate their birthday at this venue. That's where the private celebration took place. So that's the third event. The fourth event is the most costly one. It's the football match between the world champion team, Argentina, against Australia. China paid a lot of money for this game. Everyone knows that Xi Jinping is a soccer fan. And a French media commented that Xi Jinping may not see the dream of China winning the World Cup come true, but at least some in the sports world are hoping that the Chinese president will receive a nice birthday present. Well, I think the French got it wrong. I don't think this was arranged by the Chinese sports community, which has been hit by Xi's anti-corruption campaign lately. Lately, we've seen sports authorities or officials working in the sports sector, falling from power one after another. And then the Men's Football Association is not interested in such a game at all, and I'll explain why. Um, the Argentinian team is one of Xi Jinping's favorite. So in July 2014, here's the picture. When he visited Argentina, he was given the number 10 jersey of the Argentina's national team. And well, number 10 jersey is worn by the superstar Lionel Messi. I'm trying to prevent myself from saying Lionel. Chinese media said that the world champion team was paid between $5 to $6 million to visit China. The $5 million does not include security, travel, lodging, and then the game expenses. So that's additional. Someone said that the Japan's Soccer Association offered to pay the same team, the Argentinian team, $3.5 million to have them to go to Japan for a game, but was not successful. And you would think that with that kind of money and that kind of exposure, some major Chinese sports companies or organizations must be the one that organized this event or hosted the event. Not really. The host of the event had no prior experience in sports game. This is the first sports game, and many of the sponsors of the game are from local Shanxi province, such as a winery from Yan'an. Yan'an is the revolutionary town in Shanxi. And then you have other sponsors like the Shanxi Sports Group, the Shanxi Red Sun Storage, Shanxi Hongqiao Industry. And the title sponsor, I do have a logo here, the title sponsor, which is the first one, the first box, is called, what is it called? It's called Yan'an Guobing Liquor, which is a state-owned liquor company, and it's owned by the local. It's owned by the local. It's called SOE Supervision and Administration Commission. So now you know Shanxi is Xi Jinping's hometown. His father's memorial park is in Shanxi. So it sounds like the local Shanxi government is behind this football match. After all, having Xi Jinping's birthplace, I mean, he was not born, I shouldn't say birthplace, because he was born in Beijing. I would say having Xi Jinping's hometown or ancestors' home in their province is their biggest asset. And they're not going to miss the opportunity to use that connection on the big boss 70th birthday. So people say this game was kind of chaotic. It was not very well organized given the high profile of it, probably because the lack of experience by the host. And Messi and his famed team were supposed to play against the Chinese national football team, but the Chinese men's football team declined the game. The organizer had to look for another team to play with the Argentinians. They tried the Australian team, but the Australians had a game in the United States at the same time. Well, the Chinese offered money. The Australians canceled their games in the United States because the Chinese offer was too hard to refuse. They offered $700,000 plus all expenses paid and the chance to play a match with the world champions. That's a good deal. So people in sports don't understand why China spends so much money to invite a foreign team to play against the world champions, right? Nobody does that. If people spend that kind of money to get the champions to come, they want their national team to have the chance to play with the best players. Why give that opportunity away to someone else? So people have the question, why doesn't the Chinese football team want to play in this game? Why do they give up such a chance? Well, it's too risky politically. The Chinese football team knows that their players' ability is, what can we say, not impressive. That's being polite, not impressive at all. And so the team would lose miserably. So if the team, think about it, if the team loses like 7-0, 8-0, right, in a football match, it's like an utter embarrassment to the big boss. The birthday boy would not be very happy. It will be embarrassment. So the Chinese men's football team cannot afford to lose face, to cause the big boss to lose face on his birthday. So they choose not to play. Now the game, however, the visit by the Argentinians, however, created a football mania in China. The game was the most expensive commercial game ever played in the country. What happened to some of my pictures? Oh, I don't know. What happened to my pictures? Anyways, I lost some pictures I want to show with you, but anyways, that's okay. And Chinese soccer fans paid hundreds of dollars for the tickets. But the biggest star of the game turned out to be a young Chinese teenager who jumped 3 meters from the audience section and rushed onto the field. He gave the star, Messi, a hug and ran around the field. And hordes of Chinese security guards ran after him and eventually caught him after the boy lied down on the field. So I hope I can play this video. This is let me make this bigger. This is actually a video that someone took. Let me play this. Maybe I can make this bigger. Here we go. Anyways, I thought that's now you must know that in a country that's so depressive, right? The Chinese got so excited seeing that because in China it's almost impossible to have any form of personal expression. So the fact that a young man rushed onto the field and did such outrageous things from Chinese perspective, it was exciting. It was really the highlight of the game. So the audiences cheered him on like crazy. So he became the biggest star of the game. And but afterwards, when people asked him he said he just decided he was in the audience section. He just decided to run onto the field. He said he's under 18 years old. He's still a kid, so he did not think that the government would do anything to him because he's not an adult. But in the end, I think they still this report from China said that the Beijing police still decided to detain him and forbid him to attend any football games for 12 months. And they treated him like a dog. They claim that he's 18 years old, but I do not think this boy is 18 years old. Just from his face, I mean, he looked like a kid. So that was really a highlight for a lot of Chinese because that moment, I think, is what got a lot of Chinese excited because you don't see that kind of a outburst of like going wild onto a field and just do what you want and just really, go, chase your dream, go after what you want. I think that moment really said a lot for a lot of the Chinese. So that's what I want to play you the video. Anyways, things as the football mania swept across China. Someone pointed out a brutal fact that's I think utterly that's embarrassing to the organizer of the birthday soccer bash. It's why is it embarrassing? Because those of you who read Chinese would know what this means. You're gonna laugh. Messi's Chinese name is translated as Mei Xi. Mei in Chinese is no or without. So it literally sounds like no Xi. And you know what Xi is. It's no Xi. And then the Mei, instead of saying no, it could also mean bad luck. So it could mean bad luck Xi. It could also be interpreted as the Chinese expression, 没戏, which means game over or it's over. It's like you're done with, right? So any of the three does not sound too well. It's really bad luck for the birthday boy. So I don't know if the person who came up with the idea of inviting Lionel Messi to China to celebrate Xi Jinping's birthday thought of this because the Chinese leaders are very superstitious. I mean, Chinese are very superstitious ordinarily, and on such a big birthday, you want to avoid any possibilities of have anything that sound not nice. So I'm just surprised that no one thought of that. Anyways, so that's the story. That's the scoop behind the football match. Now let's talk about Bill Gates. Here's a billboard in Beijing showing the world famous man who went to China during the same time. Xi Jinping's official meeting with him was on June the 16th, the day after his birthday. But I was thinking, do you think Bill Gates was invited to the private party on June 15th at the Longevity Temple? What do you think? Possibly. This is because Xi Jinping called Bill Gates an old friend, and the trip seemed very special to Bill Gates. Let me play a clip released by Xinhua to show you the speeches given by both of them. That one I have it uploaded. Here we go. The voice that you're gonna see is from Xi Jinping. Okay.
咱们有3年多啊。
Yeah, let me start from the very beginning.
我很高兴见到你。你看，咱们有3年多没有见面了。你是参与到这个中国发展。
Sorry, I can't.
我很高兴见到你。你看，咱们有3年多没有见面了。你是参与到这个中国发展事业中做了很多事情的人。 也是我们的老朋友。你是我今年见到的第一位美国朋友。我总认为中美关系基础是在民间的。我是寄希望于美国人民，在当今世界这样的一个形势下，我们可以进行各种有利于我们两国人民、有利于整个人类的一些活动，我们都做这方面的促进者。
Very honored to have this chance to meet, and we've always had great conversations, and we'll have a lot of important topics to discuss today. I was very disappointed I couldn't come during these last 4 years, and so it's very exciting to be back.
Okay. Did you guys notice Bill Gates' body language? He was so nervous. Let me play the last part again. I read the comments. I read the Chinese comments. What Chinese think of Bill Gates' speech, and almost like half of them commented on how nervous he looked. So here we go. Here we go.
我们都做这方面的促进者。
Very honored to have this chance to meet,
Yes,
and we've always had great conversations, and we'll have a lot of important topics to discuss today. I was very disappointed I couldn't come during these last 4 years, and so it's very exciting to be back.
Okay, all right. We had enough of them. So yeah, Bill Gates looked very, very nervous, and someone said maybe it's not nervousness; it's maybe he was too excited. But anyways, a lot of media outlets mentioned the conversations, but they didn't really translate. I don't know if you get to see the translated. I mean, the whole video with the translated subtitles. I thought it's fascinating to see the body language of the two, the conversations between the two. Obviously, the real conversations were much longer than this. This is just the clips of them, but still, it's very interesting to see. Xi Jinping called Bill Gates his old friend. Now, old friend is not a casual expression. It's a formal badge of honor that the CCP uses to describe foreigners who have won the regime's trust and is considered a close ally. There's a Wikipedia page about this, Chinese people's old friends. And other Americans who the CCP calls old friend or old friends include Henry Kissinger, Bill Gates is already here, George Bush Sr., and also Bill Clinton. I think Bill Gates was nervous because the reception was very high profile. When Elon Musk visited China weeks ago, he was not received by Xi Jinping, not by his premier either. Bill Gates was received like a head of state. Because Xi Jinping brought with him his top two officials in charge of foreign affairs with him to the meeting. The head of the party's foreign affairs office, Wang Yi, and the foreign minister, Qin Gang. Think about it. I mean, Bill Gates' official title was only the head of the Bill and Melinda Foundations, right? I mean, it's only the Gates Foundation. I mean, that's his official title. But Xi Jinping brought with him not only the foreign minister, but also his highest-ranking diplomat, Wang Yi. So there's clearly a difference between Elon Musk and Bill Gates, right, from the perspective of the CCP. The difference is Bill Gates is an old friend, I mean, who has the official title of an old friend, therefore an insider, right, who's more trusted, while Elon Musk still needs to prove himself. So why did Xi Jinping give Bill Gates so much attention? Obviously, he wants to use this high-profile meeting to send a message. This meeting is highly publicized in China. Even the Chinese military website reproduced, in addition to reproducing the Xinhua news release, it also posted a separate report with a headline that quotes Xi Jinping's words. It says, Xi meets Bill Gates. And then the quote from Xi, the foundation of US-China relations is among the people, or rests upon the people, and I'm counting on the American people. At the press conference on the same day, Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin was asked about the meeting, and he repeated the exact same line. He said, the foundation of the US-China relations rests on the people of the two peoples, and I'm counting on the American people. So the words Xi Jinping used were typical CCP cliche, but when they're singled out and repeatedly emphasized, I think Beijing is sending a message, which is that the Chinese are not counting on the US government or American politicians to change the current US-China relations. When he said that right before Tony Blinken's visit, who has already landed in Beijing now, Xi Jinping is sending a stern warning to Tony Blinken and Joe Biden. Rather, Xi is counting on his old friends in the private sector, the Wall Street and the CEOs of multinational companies. Bill Gates' trip to China is the latest in a string of recent visits by global business leaders. When Elon Musk was in China, the chief executives of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, and also the head of Starbucks were also in China. And prior to that, you have the chief executives of Apple, Samsung, and Volkswagen, among others, all visited China. So this confirmed my analysis of the strategy Xi Jinping is using to handle US-China relations. In my live stream discussing the Elon Musk's visit to China, it was dated June 3rd. In that program, I said that Xi Jinping is using the same strategy Deng Xiaoping used after the 1989 student crackdown. That is, the strategy is to playing hard on politicians, on Western politicians, and being soft on business leaders. And Xi Jinping will use the private sector, his old friends in the private sector, to put pressure on American politicians. This is the most common CCP tactics. It's just to turn people against each other, right? It's to sow discord. It's to create that division, and then it can divide and conquer. Beijing used that trick on the French president, and it's also playing the same trick with the EU, right? Between EU and the United States. This is a very important, how to say, it always has this mindset. When it's good to someone, it's trying to be aggressive to someone else. And if you compare the difference, and then you know what the strategy is, because it's trying to turn people against each other. This is what CCP does a lot. So other than wanting Bill Gates to be his lobbyist in Washington, Xi Jinping also wants something else. Reuters had an exclusive report yesterday saying that Xi and Gates talked about AI. Xi Jinping said that he welcomed Microsoft and other American companies bringing their AI technology to China. Now, he said this against the backdrop that the Biden administration is considering an executive order to ban US companies from investing in high tech, such as AI in China. And Americans have made extensive investments in the Chinese AI industry. A report by the Georgetown University released in February, I think it was February 1st, found that 167 US investors took part in 401 transactions. That's 401, which is about 17% of the investments into Chinese AI companies between the year 2015 and 2021. So within 6 years, 167 US investors took part in 401 transactions, representing 17% of the total of the not total investment, the number of investments into the Chinese AI companies. And they found that $40 billion of the total money raised by all Chinese AI companies over that period had US backing. So Xi Jinping obviously does not want to lose American funding nor American technology in AI. It shows how important AI is to him, right? So I mean, if people say if you compare why he did not meet with Elon Musk, but he met with Bill Gates, other than the difference between Bill Gates and Elon Musk, I think people shows that AI has a higher priority to him than EV cars. So this should tell the Biden administration officials what they should do about the executive order to ban U.S. investments in China in AI. Okay, I want to end my talk by telling you a little bit about how the Chinese celebrated, quote unquote, celebrated Xi Jinping's birthday. Well, the Chinese are not allowed to directly comment on their leader's birthday. This is a no-no, right? So they've been creative in coming up with alternative ways. First of all, the 25th Shanghai International Film Festival played the 1989 film The Last Emperor by Italian director Bernardo Bertolucci on June 15th. Think about it. You play the film The Last Emperor on the Chinese leader's birthday. Is that a coincidence, or are people trying to send a message? People also looked up historical events that took place on June the 15th. They found that on June 15th, 1215, that's in the 13th century, King John of England was forced to sign the Magna Carta, which means the Great Chapter of Freedom. This document limited the king's power under the law and established the principle that private property and personal freedom could not be violated at will. This was the beginning of the establishment of constitutional governments. So Chinese talked about that extensively, and they lamented on Chinese social media that China is behind the West by over 800 years in political civilization. Others found that the June 15th is the birthday of a Japanese cartoon character, and it's called the Chubby Tiger. I have a picture of that. Here we go. Here's happy birthday to Chubby Tiger. I thought it's cute. The character not only shares the same birthday as Xi Jinping, but also the same attributes. Chubby Tiger, 胖虎, in Chinese name is 胖虎. Some translate as like fat tiger. I'm just trying to be more polite by using the word chubby. So Chubby Tiger is childish. He is considered big and tall, but is only elementary school educated. He bullies his classmates with his fists. He forces others to listen to his bad singing and eat the terrible food he cooks. He is emotional, and guess what? He, just like China's leader, he loves soccer. So the Chubby Tiger is a synonym the Chinese uses for Xi Jinping. Oh, here is his birthday, 1964, and June 15th. That's yeah. Yeah, so Chinese cannot talk about their leader's birthday, but they're talking about everything else, including Chubby Tiger, including the King John of England and his the great chapter of freedom that he signed, and they talked about the film The Last Emperor. So with that said, I wrap up my presentation about Xi Jinping's birthday and the visit by the world's two famous men on that occasion. So let me see if people have any questions. All right. Yeah, we need to have a little bit of entertainment on weekends. Otherwise, talking about CCP could be really boring and dry. So I try to find as much juicy stories for you on weekends as possible. I hope this is a good one. And let me see if people have questions. Let me go through the super chats first. Well, there are a lot of conversations from Boy Kachina. Hey, Lei, please tell me how my investment is doing. You said it should be worth $50 million by now. Why is your Telegram? Okay. Oh, I need to say, I do not have a Telegram account. Somebody usurped my name and created a Telegram account. That's not me. I posted in the community board. I have a subscriber sending me an email asking me if that's me. No, it's not me. I only have, in terms of social media account, I'm on YouTube, obviously, on Facebook and Twitter. I'm also on Rumble. So anything else that you see is not me. So yeah. Oh, thank you for reminding me to say that. Intrepid Soul, thank you, Hailey. I just made it for the first time to your live broadcast. Sorry, I'm late. Oh, you don't need to apologize. People can join anytime. People can watch afterwards as well. Crunch the Grace Hopper. I hope you get around to my question on how Tesla affects trade balance, and employment of highly technical and compensated workers. Will politics cause them to expand elsewhere in Asia? I agree that Tesla affects trade balance and employment of highly technical and compensated workers. Will politics cause them to expand elsewhere in Asia? You mean politics in China, CCP's politics, or geopolitics? So if you could elaborate on that a little bit, that would be helpful. For Michael A. Mayo, not a question, just a comment. Our work in education, it's depressing to know that Chinese people are better informed about the Magna Carta than Americans. Yeah, the Chinese really, the Chinese know a lot about the Western world. You'll be amazed to find out how much they know about the West. There are also many aspects of democracy that they're not familiar with, but they do know a lot. Yeah. Thank you for making that comment. From Jeff Ramos, Lei, I want to see the kid running again. Okay, should I play that video? I'll provide the link in the description so you can watch that again. All right. From Mitsu, at the very end, why did she hate the Winnie the Pooh bit so badly? Winnie is a beloved character in the Western world, and he could have used that as a perfect opportunity as soft power. Do you know that the CCP leader, does any of them have a real sense of humor? No. I don't think they can. I don't think they're allowed to have any sense of humor, right? Because people who have sense of humor are not afraid to be ridiculed. They always make fun of themselves. But no, not for the CCP leaders. They cannot make fun of themselves, and they cannot, even though Winnie the Pooh is, this cutest, little stuffed animal, that the kids love. No, it's not fitting. He thinks it's disgraceful. He thinks it's disgraceful to compare him to a Pooh Bear. Right? I mean, that's CCP logic. I mean, yeah. So soft power, the word soft power does not exist in communist China. Speaking of soft power, I do have something I want to say. For about a decade, wealthy Chinese all rushed to send their daughters to like the Swiss, what do you call that? The Swiss finishing school to learn etiquette, to how to behave like a lady. But you know what? They could learn all the techniques. They could learn all the do's and don'ts, but they will never. I shouldn't say they will never. I don't want to sound so harsh. It will be very difficult for them to learn the true essence of etiquette if they have not lived outside China. Because the essence of etiquette is two things. Excuse me. One is follow the rules, right? The essence of etiquette is one is follow the rules, and the second is think of others first, place others ahead of yourself. No matter how many etiquette books there are out there, it's all about these two things. But the mainland Chinese have a hard time following these two rules. They cannot follow rules because the CCP's whole agenda is about breaking rules. And then the second thing is think of others first. No, the CCP culture is always me, me, me. I'm first. So that's why I said it's very difficult. If we don't get rid of the CCP culture, it's very hard to bring real etiquette back to China. It's really hard to teach Chinese people manner because they can't follow the rule. And I used to do training in this area for the Chinese immigrants in the U.S. And I try to study them. I try to understand why it's so hard for them to follow the rules. And and then I found the answer. It's because if you grew up in China, no matter what you do, it's wrong. It's very difficult for you not to have bad manner. You know why? Because if you follow the rules, right? If you grow up if you've grew up in China and always follow the rules, you have followed the wrong rules because it's the rules set up by the CCP. So, but then if you grew up in China, never following any rules, then you have developed the habit of not following the rules. So no matter what you do, it's wrong, and you're gonna have your behavior is kind of different from other parts of the world. That's why it's very difficult for mainland Chinese when they first leave China. It's difficult for them to integrate into the free world because of that. No matter what they do, it's wrong. And I don't know what question I got for me to start this conversation. Sorry, I forgot the question, but I hope I answered the question. Anyways, let me move on. Sorry. All right, did I answer all the question for? Yeah, for Max Shredder, hey Lei, despite the fact that Henan is the third most populous province, it's so lagging behind other provinces. That province has a lot of problems. Henan, yeah. The village bank, the banking crisis, it's very corrupt. I think, yeah, local government is very corrupt. From Jeff Ramos, Lei, between the jerseys of China and Argentina or the US, which one you'd most likely to wear? I would probably wear the jersey of the US. without a doubt, for right now. When CCP becomes history, then ask me the question again. I may have a different answer. But right now, I'll wear the US jersey. And I am an American. From Sir Humphrey, thank you for the donation. Okay. From I'll take the last two questions from Maldeco. Like, do you think Truman's position to stop communism in Korea is a big blunder of his presidency, and instead he passed the human cost and problems of communism of China coming in China to generations that follows? I don't. I think the U.S. There was a documentary made about how the Americans misjudged every time. If you look at the U.S. history or the Sino-U.S. the history of Sino-U.S. relations, it's very interesting. Almost like every time the United States government is about to take a position on CCP, and then there will be a different voice or different opinion. Something will change, and then you will have the U.S. start to move towards the other side. The swing moves back and forth, but that swing has allowed the CCP to grow, to survive every time it's about to be wiped out. It helped the CCP survive every existential crisis. It happened during it happened when the Republic of China was founded. Because of the lack of support from the United States and the Western nations, the founder of the Republic had to turn to the Soviet Union for support because it needed support. And that was the first one. And then during the Civil War, or right after the Second World War, when the American government sent a delegation to Yan'an to assess, assess the civil war between the Mao Zedong and then the Chiang Kai-shek nationalists, they were fooled by the CCP again. They somehow came up with a conclusion that the CCP was more popular amongst the Chinese people, that they could run China better, that they were more democratic. Same thing with the Korean War, right? When they stopped at the line, it helped the CCP. It helped the communist regime in North Korea and the CCP. So almost like every time, same thing, same thing in recent history. So I don't know, maybe it's time that the American politicians really wake up and understand CCP's whole interest is not to coexist with the United States, is to replace the United States. They have said it themselves. I'm not the one saying that. They themselves have state that clearly. It wants to replace the United States. So I don't understand why the American politicians are so afraid to confront the CCP. You're not against China. You're not against the Chinese people. You're just against a political party, in China. If so, that I think, yeah, if you look at the history, it's quite sad. Yeah. Sorry, I lost track of what question. I saw a question about the decoupling versus de-risking. Do you think China will ever reach Xi Jinping's goal of being technological leader in 2025? I don't think they will reach that goal in 2025. I think decoupling, when you change the term from decoupling to de-risking, you know what the CCP gets? when they see the G7 leaders came up with the new term de-risking, I think from the CCP's perspective, they got the idea, oh, so you guys don't want to decouple either. Okay, so you don't want to decouple, and you're trying to avoid decoupling with me. They got that very clear. So it sends a very clear message to the CCP that the West is afraid to decouple with China. So it's pointless, I don't understand why Western politicians play these semantics. They enjoy they have so much fun. They're career politicians. They have so much fun in playing these semantics, these wording with the mainstream media. The mainstream media also enjoy this kind of wording game, so they could write different press coverage. But the public, the general American publics, the American are not interested in the difference between decoupling and de-risking. I mean, who cares? How many people really understand the difference between decoupling and de-risking? They do not understand, and they do not care about the differences. Okay, and then now let's talk about the Chinese. Do you think the Chinese people care or understand the difference between these two words? They do not. Now, what about the CCP, the Chinese officials? They see that they see your fear of using the word decouple. And then the CCP they play tough, and they are not a very sophisticated group of people. So for a group of sophisticated Western elites to play the semantics with a group of ruffians, it's a waste of time. You're only losing. So don't play these semantics, because it serves no purpose. Nobody will appreciate that other than politicians, other than career politicians yourself, and maybe mainstream media. It's a waste of time to everyone else outside that group or those two groups. And the CCP is probably laughing. It's like, look at them. They're playing words again. You think we don't get it? Of course we know what they want, Sorry. Anyways, okay, I've talked a lot, more than 1 hour. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great Father's Day, and happy Father's Days to all the fathers out there, the fathers and the grandfathers, the great grandfathers. Yes. All right. So good night, and I'll see you later. Thank you.